Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed, along with Justin and Brad. We're here following week one with a preview for week two. So just to kind of recap a little bit about what happened in the Clownhead community in week one, we're going to start with the Beat the Clownheads. It's a DraftKings contest. I actually scored 146.48. And there were four teams out of the 8 that challenged me that actually did beat me. And I'm just going to quickly mention who they are and give them a shout out because they beat the clown. And that's GJ Reed, 167.92, obviously being my 146. We have Brian M, 7798 with a 158.78. We have Killer Sam 775 with a 150.32 and Jiggles 32 with 147.70, just edging out my 146. Then in the Clownhead tournament, which is also a DraftKings larger tournament, just with Clownhead members, we're going to come back to that champion and not divulge who that was, but we have Zazula came in second and got some money. JSL 1123 got some money in the third position. D Guz at 158.92 got fourth place money, and Brian M 7798 with 158 got fifth place money. So we pay out 5 positions in this tournament. I actually came in 8th and outside of the money. So these guys just wiped me out and took all my money, which is kind of par for the course, I guess you could say. Want to preview here and show you guys a little bit about Shippa's team. Shippa 1982 was the champion, 178.10. And you can see on the screen here his team. He went with Mayfield, Barkley, Taylor, Juju, Pittman, Ayuk, Tunyon, Chase, and the Commanders. And I know for sure Brad plays a lot of DFS. So what do you think of this lineup, Brad?
I actually like it. For what you had to work with, I think you made a pretty good lineup, honestly.
What's crazy is I actually like Ayuk, and you see that he's got the blue beside him, and I thought he would be in line for a big game. So tells you how much I know. I really was excited about Ayuk and what he would bring to the table. So I guess that was, would have been a good miss for me, but that was what we had there. So shout out to Shippa for getting week one and taking the Clownheads money and taking down everybody else in the Clownhead community as well. So great showing from Shippa, and he's part of the Elite 8 as well. And so, we always see a lot with him. Now we thought it would be fun to kind of run through some of the Elite 8 top scorers. So Division A, we had the Wolfpack with 260.06. In Division B, Sportsbag MD 274.50. And just kind of a shout out there, all 3 of us picked Sportsbag MD to win coming out of that bracket. So all 3 of us kind of got that right, and we feel pretty good about ourselves there. Skipping over C because that's where our champion came from. We're going to move on to D, and that's where Johnny Ross with 270.51. And I'm going to pat myself on the back here because I actually have Johnny in the second seed, and I'm the only person that put him in the top 2. So we're going to give me a little bit of kudos there. Division E, JSL 111 with a 276.39. I had him in first place coming out. I'm the only person out of the 3 of us that thought he would make it to the Sweet 16 as well. In Division F, we have D-Rec 22 with a 279.41. None of us had D-Rec in our top 2. In Division G, Dutchy 13 with a 261.47. And again, none of us had Dutchy there. So I guess we're not showing D-Rec or Dutchy any love. And Division H, Mystical Child 23 with a 279.28. And both Brad and I had Mystical Child in the 2 spots. So we both kind of have that half. We sort of knew that Mystical Child would be a pretty good team. Back to the champion this week. So the 1 week champion doesn't win any money. So just let's put that right out there. Doesn't do anything except for lets us just kind of bust on the team a little bit. Was MillerTime 8049 with a 291.03. So almost got to that 300. And I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of the team that he started. And he started Stafford and Brady at the quarterback position, and Cook and Barkley at the running backs, and that might be where he really was able to capitalize. And then Jefferson, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, and Jerry Jeudy at the receivers, Goddard, Tanyan at tight end, A.J. Dillon, and Hines, so 2 running backs in the flexes. What do you guys think about that starting team? And do any of those players surprise you with what their output was there?
Yeah, actually, I would say the tight ends performing well, both of them, and then his flex running backs, kind of doing what he needed to, really helped him.
Yeah, I would have to agree with the tight ends, and then the running backs in the flex. If you get a chance to really play a running back in your flex, I personally think that's a smarter play than a wide receiver, because they touch the ball a lot more than a wide receiver. Unless you have five of the top 10 receivers, then play one in your flex, but not everyone is going to have that.
Well, I guess what surprises me about the whole thing, about Dillon scoring the 27 points and Nyheim Hines 16 points, is that he was able to get by with CeeDee Lamb scoring 5.9 and having just a real low score. And the quarterbacks weren't stellar. Like, I see quarterback scores, but are high a lot of times. He had Stafford at 16 and Tom Brady at 18. So I just feel like it was a consistent number, and just kind of surprised really that he was able to kind of come up there. Now, we're going to bust him a little bit. He does have Marcus Mariota to cover the buys, but you guys know I'm always insane about what does the quarterback room look like. But so beyond Mariota, he's got Blaine Gabbert, so he's got a handcuff of Brady, and then he's got Ritter, a handcuff of Mariota. So he did kind of make that distinction. So I do think he has a chance to, really do well in the quarterback room. And he's fortunate enough, he's probably excited today because he's got Jeff Wilson on his team. So, a lot of people are running to the waiver wire to pick up Jeff Wilson, and he's just kind of sitting there smiling, and he's got, Jeff Wilson right there ready to roll. And I mean, I'm looking at Dobbs and Corey Davis, on his bench as well. So just has some players here to, fire up for those bye weeks and be able to be okay. Because if you remember, obviously having the 2 running backs in the flex, he can float them in if anything happens to his main 2 running backs. By having those extra receivers there, he can backfill. So I think that MillerTime's off to a pretty good start. I mean, that winning kind of gets my attention, and we didn't get that one right. None of us have MillerTime in our top 2. So, yeah. But just looking at that makes me feel like maybe we all missed it, and maybe he's got something built there that makes some sense. Just looking at where he can go from there.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, his team doesn't look like world beaters on paper, but he has guys that get the job done, and he has guys like Jeff Wilson who he's at the right place at the right time.
Well, I feel like that gives him 3 running backs, and if he gets an injury or 2, I feel like he's still like, let's go. He's still ready to roll. So that's kind of my takeaway from there. Looking at clown heads 1 through 5, our top point scorers here are River AD in the 1, in clown head 1, and then in clown head 2, the big behemoth. 248.63, and I didn't mention River AD was at 237.94. So same scoring, but kind of ironically, we're all lesser scores on these first 2 so far, and so that was kind of an interesting, for me to watch how these scores are all, as you'll notice, all less. In Clownheads 4, we're going to skip over 3. We have Rock Bottom 12, and that's 240.24. And Clownheads 5, Top Flight Hooker with 265.59. And just kind of a shout out, Clownheads 5, I had Top Flight Hooker in the 2 spot, and Brad had Top Flight Hooker in the 1 spot. So he really got that one right, and that's what we have there. And then our top scorer was actually JackPowers out of the Clownheads 3 with a 268.18. And so that's just a moderate score in the Elite 8. So same scoring, but you get a big score in one of those Clownheads 1 through 5, and you're really going to do pretty well. And JackPowers' team, he starts with this feels like a lot better, I think, but he's got Josh Allen and Russell Wilson at quarterbacks, Zeke Elliott and Aaron Jones at running backs, Tyreek, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, who's hurt now, Michael Thomas as his receivers, Kelsey and Hunter Henry at tight end, and then Tyler Lockett and Cordell Patterson as the flexes. So he's got one running back, one receiver in the flex by comparison. But then with a guy like Kelsey, 45 points in the tight end. If you remember, the last guy was in the teens on his tight end. So 45 is a big difference, there. And the quarterbacks were in the teens, and here Josh Allen, 49, so almost 50 points. So a lot more there, but yet the total isn't near as high. So, it's what we have there. What do you guys think of that team and where it is?
I think this team actually looks a little bit better than the other Clownheads high scorer. So I think it's at least a little bit more even around the whole lineup. He doesn't have any holes really. He's got depth on the bench. It looks like he's set up pretty nicely, honestly.
Well, I do see Kittle down there on the bench, which probably is going to be.
And Henderson, he's got pieces.
But quarterback could become problematic, an injury or so to Josh Allen, and then this thing kind of falls off the rails. He does have Mariota, but Mariota loses his starting job and Allen gets hurt, and this team might just fall off the rails. Like it doesn't have to have much happen to, even Russ gets hurt. One of the quarterbacks gets hurt and it kind of falls off the rails pretty quick, I think. So that's kind of what I would say. What do you think, Justin, or what's your first instinct on JackPowers Clownheads 3?
Excuse me, yeah, I definitely agree with you guys, especially with him having Allen and Wilson, and how dominant Allen was in that Thursday night game this past week. It's a pretty nice team, and even Zeke and Jones, even though they both had kind of an off game, just because of game script there for they're in Dallas. Not being able to move the ball and that getting hurt there at the end of the game is we'll have to see how Dallas does moving forward. But overall, yeah, they like you said, what if one of those quarterbacks go down, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back. I'm the only person that has JackPowers. I have him as my 2 seed in Clownhead 3, but I was the only person that did add him. So I guess I saw something in the team at the beginning and put him there. Just a shout out for Clownhead 1 and 2 redraft. DREC 22, 253.73. Same stat or same scoring. So here the scoring's a little bit better for our top scorer. And then in Clownhead 2 redraft, JSL 111. So he's hit the board twice. So he got on the board in Division E, and then also brought it back and got on the board in Clownhead redraft too, 269.38. Also gonna roast you guys a little bit here. I was able to beat Brad in Clownheads 5 in our head-to-head matchup, so pretty excited about that I was able to take down Brad. And then in Clownheads 2 and Side League Empire 2, I played Justin head-to-head, and I went undefeated against him as well. So for the 3 of us, we had these 3 head-to-head matchups. I was involved in all of them, and I came away a winner. So it's kind of saying that I'm clowning you guys. That's what we'll say there. Is you're getting clowned a little bit.
Hey, this is only the first game.
That's true. That's true.
It's-
I think actually Justin bet on me in Vegas. He said, I'm going to bet on the clown. That's what I'm going to put the money on. And so he probably punted to me just so he can win the bet in Vegas. I think that's how it went down.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of how that went. Looking back, biggest surprises, guys. Brad, what's your biggest surprise from week 1? What do you think really shocked you?
Honestly, some of the teams kind of did bad that we didn't know were gonna be that bad. Like Cowboys, kind of going down by the wayside. The Broncos, definitely surprises with contending teams not living up to their name first week.
Gotcha. And what about you, Justin? What do you think your biggest surprise of the week was?
Kickers. Biggest letdown, biggest surprise of the week for me. Cincinnati losing to Pittsburgh. They should not have. And then the Colts tying. Who do the Colts play?
The Texans, right?
Oh yeah, Texans tying to the Texans. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, some really good teams took either a loss or a tie. When was the last time anyone tied against the Texans? They've been around for a little while now, and you don't.
Yeah.
You always beat up on Texans.
So 3 games. I guess that would be my biggest surprise. There was 3 games. I played in a Survivor and I'm out now. I've been eliminated. So right after week 1, eliminated. And what's crazy is I switched from one team to another team, which you should never do, by the way. But I decided I was going to take the 49ers, and I switched off of them, and then the Bears beat them. And I was like, oh, my goodness, I guess I did the right thing. Like, I'm very surprised that happened. I am surprised about the tie. And then I moved to the Broncos last night, and then they didn't win. I thought there's no way that Russell Wilson's going to lose against Seattle, even though I know better than to bet on a away team on Monday night. Like I know better than that, but yet it just, and with a new coaching staff, like I was thinking about that later. Like it's just kind of against the rules, like you shouldn't. And so those were surprising me. I wasn't surprised about the Pittsburgh game. I guess I thought it was in the range of outcomes. I actually almost in a pick'em pool that I do with the family, I almost kept my pick on the Giants winning, but then I decided nobody was going to pick them, and I didn't want to go down one. So I thought even if the upset happened, I would just play the masses and not do an upset. But I really felt like that was probable, and I actually bet on that on the money line. So I actually made money on the Giants beating the Titans. So I feel like I had that one right. So that's kind of what I got right. If we're going to look at what I got right, is a couple of those upsets. I played the money line and got those right. I got right that we'd see a lot of things that we didn't envision. I think as I looked back and said, oh man, Aaron Rodgers did terrible, right? I remember back to last year when Aaron Rodgers went to New Orleans and basically got benched for the last quarter. They put in Jordan Love because he was awful. And then he went on to win an MVP. Now, granted, he maybe doesn't have Devontae Adams, but before I think that the sky is falling, like I wouldn't be shocked if Aaron Rodgers comes out this week and just balls, because it's just kind of what he does. Like, you think that he's down and out, and he just shows us that, basically gives us a finger. So I think that's what I get right, is to not overreact or not even really get too excited about Cam Akers not playing well. Like that was a surprise to me, is that Cam Akers didn't get an opportunity. I really thought he would. And, but I wouldn't be shocked if this week Darrell Henderson didn't get any run, because his performance wasn't that good. He wasn't efficient. And Coach McVay said actually he got blown up on a block. He missed a pass pro. So it wouldn't shock me if they just run him off the field because of that. So that's what I got right. How about you, Justin? What did you get right this week?
Mine was James Robinson. I had a nice civil disagreement with one of our clown heads, and or a while back there in the off season, and he was on ATN. I was on Robinson. Compared to what he's been able to really do over the last couple of years, they're not just going to throw him away. They're not, and it showed. They started him. He got 6 yards of carry for 11 carries for 66 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry and 1 touchdown. And was able to snag a reception for 3 yards for an easy touchdown on the goal line there, in which he did really good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he did great. I think he's, I didn't start him. I should have. I have a lot of Robinson, and I was a little bit nervous. I have to admit, I was getting nervous on him, but I don't have much ETN, so I guess I just never bought that hype. I was never, buying into ETN. Brad, how about you? What did you get right?
I would say I got AJ Brown being a top 3 receiver, right?
Yeah, he was dynamite.
Yeah, I've always been pretty high on AJ Brown, and I'm glad to see him finally making some noise.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this is on my mind, guys. I gotta ask you guys your opinion of this. So this happened in a league where I can't have a co-owners, because normally you guys are always co-owners on my teams, and this is a league that I'm not allowed to have a co-owner. And I'm in a number of these leagues, and actually maybe some of you guys are in. I know Brad's in a league, a different one of this, but so on Sunday, I realized that my opponent, I'm beating him by a little bit, and he had to move his tight end out. I'm not sure which tight end he had, but one that didn't play, so he moved him out. So he has no tight end in the spot. And I'm only winning by a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put a waiver claim in, a fab claim in. I'm going to bid some money because I want to make sure that I get every tight end that's available to play Monday night, so that just put them on my roster. Now I have to drop guys to do this, one being Terrence Marshall, pretty good player, like a pretty good stash in a dyno. And so I bid, and sure enough, when I check in Monday morning, I get both tight ends. I got the lesser guys, but I got Disley from Seattle, and I got the guy from Denver, not Alberto, the other guy that played last night, Beck or somebody like that. So I have these two guys, and then I get offered $6 in fab money for Disley. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, because why would I want to lose? Like, I'm going to lose. So I send him for $6 fab, I'm going to lose. So then last night, a trade goes down, $15 fab for Alberto. And I noticed the guy that traded away Alberto is now not going to start anybody in the flex, but he doesn't have anybody playing against him, and he's winning. So he doesn't care, right? So he's not going to lose, because the other guy's already played all his guys. So, okay, so he's just going to take a 0 in his flex with Alberto coming out. Well, that guy, the guy that I was playing, can't make any roster moves because now he's over the limit. So he's got to drop a guy. So then he trades KJ Hamler, who hasn't played yet, to the other guy for nothing. Like it says nada on the screen. Like he just trades him for free. And I'm like, well, that doesn't feel very good. Like that feels like we're scheming against me, but I'm not saying much. I'm just asking what are the rules on collusion, because it kind of feels a little bit crazy. He also has Melvin Gordon, so I'm like, you know what? Maybe it won't matter. Well, Alberto got 10 points in this league yesterday. I lost by 6. So Alberto was a thing. Like it was definitely the difference. And what just sent me to the roof this afternoon is that they traded back Hamler for Alberto this afternoon. So now they each have the guys that they had before yesterday, before they went into cahoots, and they traded back. Like, so it was like rent a player. Now, $15 fab did move that never was returned, but it still feels like Oh, and then the guy that I played, he tried to pick up Terrence Marshall. Now he lost the fab bid, but I had to expose Terrence Marshall to the whole league. And Hamler was just sitting on the other, parked on the other guy's roster, and he gets to return for free with no exposure to the league. And that feels like, at minimum, that felt like at least Hamler should be dropped, right? Like, he should be at least exposed where you have to bid on him and hope to get him back. Like, you can't just give him to somebody to hold for a second until you get back. So anyway, that's my beef. I feel like that's collusion though, right? Like, I mean, I was doing some research and I'm just like, is that what collusion is, or do I not know what the heck I'm talking about?
I think that's borderline collusion. In my opinion, I would be very irritated with it just because of you're supposed to plug and play. I don't care if you don't have someone there that's healthy, you plug and play.
Well, I would have been okay with the trade happening, I think, but then to trade it back today feels like it's kind of like,
Renting a player. That's what it was.
I mean, so Brad and I play in a different one of these leagues run by the same operation. And I was thinking, what would stop me and Brad from utilizing each other's rosters where I just move things over to Brad's roster so he can win for a given week and then he moves them back to me. Like, like we could easily do that. Like, and we don't
rosters.
I mean, we could at least use each other's rosters to, I mean, that's the plan. Like, we can do rent a players every Monday. Me and Brad will do rent a player. Like, what the heck? Like, we'll just trade them back. I'll give you $15 fab every time you let me rent a player for a win. I mean,
that's pretty crazy,
right? I mean, it kind of sets a bad precedence. I don't know. Like, for me, I feel like it's at minimum. I think that's collusion, though. I really think that's utilizing another roster for your benefit. Like, you're just basically parking players on another roster and then getting them back. Like, that's definitely, like, I think. I mean,
it's definitely affecting the integrity of the league. Like, it just doesn't seem honest,
100%, yes.
I think that's what irritated me was the trade back. Like, I think I was pretty much okay. I was disappointed that I lost naturally, like we all would be. But losing week 1 isn't the end of the world. Like, that really doesn't matter that much to me. But I don't know. I guess it just kind of goes against me because I feel like if that's the rule, like I said, me and Brad, we could really mop up in League 7. We're both in League 7. This happened in League 8. So figure out which league it is. But and I happen to be in 7, 8, 9, and 10 of this particular series of leagues. And so, it's just kind of like what, and Brad and I in League 7, those people are like crazy people. If we were to do stuff like that, they would go absolutely berserk. And the guy that did this is in League 7 too. So I mean, like, we will both play him at some point. Like, we could really maneuver. I mean, it's there. So,
me personally, I would return the favor.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that's what we do. I don't know. Like, I guess maybe I'll back down and get a little bit more. Anyway, we'll see how it works. But I just wondered. I wondered if that was me, like, making up stuff. I get annoyed when people. I think it's good to block. I think it was good to make a trade. Like, I think all that made sense. I don't think you should trade for free though. Like, $15 fab for Alberto feels like kind of cheap. And if you want to make that trade, then you want to keep Alberto for, like, that guy shouldn't get Alberto back. Like, there shouldn't be like rental. Okay, you get Alberto for a day. Like, that. I guess that's what I'm not sure is rent a player. Like, where does rent a player come into play?
On the free agent wire. On the free agent wire, that's where it comes into play. Like,
that's different because everybody has an option.
Well, that's what I mean. That's where it's supposed to come from. Like,
I mean, have you guys ever seen that where you see a player get traded for a sum of money and then return back after the game?
No.
Well, like, I've seen, like, a couple weeks later in one of my home league, a husband and wife traded a tight end and a receiver, pretty much swap, and they both used them for a couple of weeks and then traded back.
What did the league say about that? Like, how did that go over with the league? Like, nobody cared. It was good.
No, I I'm the commissioner of the league, and I went and asked, "Hey guys, what's going on with that?" They're like, "Oh, we were just short and at positions, and we wanted to trade so we can fill our spots." And then we traded back. I was like, "Well, we don't have any rules about it, so if anyone else says anything, we'll have to make a rule next year for it." But no one else really said anything.
Gotcha. I just know that Brad and I, when we're in leagues, and Justin and I, we you and me haven't traded yet, Justin, have we, or have we? I don't even know.
We've talked trading for a few players, but nothing
Nothing
went
ever.
through.
I think we're both trying to rip each other off, probably.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened.
Henry for a first, or Henry for
I mean,
a second, an early second.
I guess I feel like I want to be able to explain. Well, I really feel like when I make trades, I don't just trade to trade. I really try to make trades with purpose. And when I do make trades with purpose, I can justify it. Like if I made a trade for $15 fab, for instance, I'd have a purpose for the $15 fab. It just wouldn't be sitting in the bank account, And
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess. I guess. I mean, if that guy wins, then did that other guy help him win? Like win the league? Like is that? Does he get money? And then is that what makes it collusion? If he gets a cut of the action?
I don't know. I think if it truly affects a different outcome than previously expected, I would say, then I would say it'd be collusion.
I mean, I guess to what level of outcome? Is it the outcome of the weekly game?
A win or loss.
Is it or is it like the ending results at the end? When we look, because I'm going to look here. So week 1, so I lost 161.42 to 155.16, and Alberto scored 10.8 points. So I mean, there you are. If you take away him, he's at 151 against my 155. So I basically have a win. I really have a win, But I guess the bigger problem is the trade back. Like, I feel like you should be stuck with Albert. The other guy should be stuck without Alberto for a minute. Like, he should have to go through a week or two of no Alberto. Like, he should go tight end for a minute.
At least, yeah. At least. I would definitely agree with that.
I mean, and I feel like the other guy shouldn't just be able to just send off Hamler. I should have the chance to bid on Hamler and outbid those guys. And make him really spend some freaking money to get his player back. If he needed to make a drop, you just can't send him for free. To somebody.
Well, at the end of it all, you can say Hamler, KJ Hamler, and $15 fab for Alberto. That was
I think so, except for that. Then when Hamler for Alberto comes back today, then you're like, well, then it was basically rental of Alberto for $15.
Yeah.
And to make the rosters all work. I would have actually go better with the trade if it just was both of those pieces for Alberto. Like, okay, KJ Hamler and $15 for Alberto because you definitely need Alberto to go get the win. I probably wouldn't have said a word, but when they reversed it today, I'm like, okay. And it was done in 2 different transactions yesterday. That I'm like, this is just like these guys figuring out how this guy can start him against me so like he can beat me. Like these 2 guys in a room figuring out how they can use their rosters to go beat one other guy in the room.
Exactly.
And that's what ESPN said collusion is. I mean, not that they're the authority, but I Googled them up to say, okay, who can give me fantasy collusion? And I know we throw it around. I've never seen it, I don't think. I don't really think I've ever seen it in fantasy sports. Maybe I'm just naive, but I don't know. Have you guys seen it in your leagues? Like real collusion, like where people really, or do you? I feel like I've seen a lot of stupid people, but I don't think I've ever seen collusion.
Yeah, well, I would definitely say back when I first started playing fantasy football, there were 8 teams in my home league and 4 couples. I admit, me and my wife traded players as soon as we figured out who we bet the better team to make the better team. And also, there was another couple that did the same thing.
Okay,
So, I
you
mean,
kind of had couples cam then. You guys kind of all,
yeah.
maybe not. Maybe 2 of the couples did couples cam, and the other 2 were like, oh, we're gonna get divorced if we don't beat the other one. We're just gonna go balls to the wall.
Oh, well, it was, I mean, you start one quarterback, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, kicking the defense. So there was plenty of people still out there, an 8-man team. I mean, this was back when we first started.
Wow.
Yeah. Even one year after we kind of moved on from couples to 10-person league, we one of the girls actually drafted a kicker with the #1 pick, and she won the league
Wow.
with drafting a kicker. So it shows you how truly bad we were. Didn't know what we were really doing back then.
Well, thank you guys for letting me vent tonight. I guess I'll keep it going,
Yeah.
but that was it happened today as we're recording here, and thought everybody could benefit maybe from what I view collusion as, and I guess that's where I'm at. Is I think that the reversing of players, without any ramifications is what kind of creates the collusion environment. And I wanted to just kind of give a point out that, like with any of us in the same league, I mean, Justin, you and I could do that in a lot of leagues where we're in together. We could do stuff like that if that's not collusion. Like it doesn't even make sense. And so, I guess that's what I would say there. But just back to the fantasy clown community, I'm just excited for where we are, and week 1 in the books, and now we head for week 2, and want to encourage anybody that isn't part of the DraftKings tournament to jump in. I think we had like 18 or 19 of us this week, and so try to get that number higher. I know it's not legal everywhere, but that would be cool. And then that we still need 2 more people to challenge me, because only 4 people took my money. So I guess that nobody else thinks they can beat me, and that's fine. But I'm taking all takers, and let's see if I didn't check out and see if any of us have any head-to-head matchups. But I did have one head-to-head side wager, just a small amount, of a Hamilton with a Rat Pack person in a best ball league, and beat him head-to-head too. So I feel like I had a really successful week 1, and so pretty excited. My coffee tasted real good yesterday morning. When I woke up and won a lot of leagues. Really got off to a good start a lot of places, and where I thought I might. So really excited for where that is, and that's kind of week 1. And so glad everybody joined us for the Fantasy Football Clown Show. Excited for next week and see who shows up on the winning list. Maybe one of us will get into the top scorer for week 2. So that's going to be the goal, is to see how you guys set your lineup and get a week 2 win. So any parting words, Brad? Anything you have for the audience?
Not much. Just next week's high scores, just kind of keep an eye out. We'll be sending you a message to come on the show. So just kind of keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we're excited for that. How about you, Justin? Any parting words? Any words of advice to the community?
Just good luck this week, and hopefully we'll see some different top scorers next week, and I look forward to it.
Hopefully you guys will have some right answers next week. That's what I'm hoping for. No, I'm kidding. And, want to preach patience. I guess the parting words, I was thinking of that as I was asking you guys, patience. Don't do anything drastic. It's week 1. Things will change. I promise. So the end of September, this whole thing will be way different. The people that we thought won't be, and the people that we thought won't be, will be. So that's all for now. He's Brad. He's Justin. I'm Ed. That's the Fantasy Football Clown Show.